my relationships, everything. And then also understanding I didn't have faith with Allah as a Muslim woman. Like, I totally ignore that part. So also having that faith was something that I also lacked, for a better word, like just not understanding, like, how do I make sure that I can be who I am and be authentic. And I didn't know how to do that, y'all. Like, so I just whoosh, rock bottom. I hit rock bottom.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Now I see the purpose.
Hey everyone, thank you guys so much for your continuous support, and thank you for clicking this video. If you'd like to find more ways to support us, please visit our website at goodconvosonly.com, where you'll be able to find our merch and all of our podcast episodes. Hello everyone, welcome back to Eat and Talk. My name is Yusra.
And I'm Gilbert, and we're back with another episode of Eat and Talk.
Today we have my sister Farhia, and I am really excited to have her on our platform today. We are about to have an amazing conversation, inshallah, very much needed. This is the first time that we are talking about this topic on Eat and Talk, but her and I have collabed a lot lately, so I'm really excited for her to share her story and share the awareness that she's bringing into the community today. So without further ado, I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Please don't be humble.
Yeah, and Gilbert says, don't be humble,
Thank
girl.
you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for having me here, Yusra and Gilbert. I'm excited to be here with you all. My name is Farhia Budul, and I'm a woman in long-term recovery from substance use disorders. And what that means to me is I can show up for my family, my friends, and my community as my authentic self.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk a little bit about what that means. So
yeah.
Don't be humble. I don't think that's all of it. Keep going. Keep going.
It is a lot more. There's definitely a lot more in it. I just feel like there's just a lot. The fire is lit.
The fire is lit, and we're going to get into it all today. So we are going to share right here behind our screen. We have Nia Recovery Initiative, and that is what Farhia started. So I'm going to let you actually talk a little bit about what Nia Recovery Initiative is and why it's important to you.
Yes, Nia. So Nia is a Arabic word meaning intention. So everything that we do, we have to have an intention for it. So Nia Recovery is intentional recovery. I'm the founder of Nia Recovery Initiative, which is the first recovery community organization for our East African and Muslim population to really understand and have awareness about substance use disorders, whether that is the opioid epidemic, drugs, and alcohol. I share a lot of my story all around. So one of the ways that we do that is through peer recovery support, education, awareness, definitely letting the moms and the hoyos in the community know that, what to look for when their young men and women are struggling. So that's what Nia is. We are located in the Cedar Riverside community.
Ooh, shout out to Cedar Riverside.
Hey. Yeah, so, we're very marginalized and underserved community right there in the heart of, South Minneapolis. So the population is like we have more population in Cedar Riverside than the city of Arden Hills, y'all.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Can you believe that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's like a whole city.
Wow.
We need our own zip code.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So, that's what Nia is. You can check out the website. Inshallah, reach out to us if you have family and friends that are struggling with addiction.
So is this the website, or is it
that is the website.
Okay.
Yep, that's our website behind it. You see the Cedar Riverside Towers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you have a team behind you?
I do, alhamdulillah.
Shout out to the team.
Yeah,
okay.
Shout out to the team. Shout out to Abdi Malik and Abdurrahman and Ahmed and Khadra, Faiza. They've been doing a lot of amazing work.
Shout out to me too. I'm about to join the team.
He's gonna be part of the team. That's what's up.
Yes.
Mashallah.
I love it. So basically, tell us a little bit about why you started Nia Recovery. Like, when did you realize this was a need for the community? Is it a need for the community, and what's been going on?
That was going to be my next question, because you said it stands for purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your purpose?
Well, our purpose is we envision our vision and mission statements really define like who we are in community, like looking at, so why I wanted to have an organization, and it's a recovery organization. And a lot of people need to understand that treatment is treatment, and we'll get into that a little bit. And then recovery is what happens after treatment. Like literally so treatment is when people initiate recovery in a treatment center, but people don't oftentimes recover there. Yeah. I'm sure you've heard of family members and friends, hey, he went to treatment. That person went into treatment. And they're in there for like maybe 30 to 60 to 90 days. Mm-hmm. But then what happens after the person comes out of a treatment center? They go back to the same people, places, and situations. Yeah. That gets them to relapse. Okay. Yeah. Reoccurrence happens. Mm-hmm. And then they go back to the same treatment center that discharged them. So when I was working at Minnesota Recovery Connections, shout out to MRC, I saw the need in our own community because I was, identifying as a woman in long-term recovery, and I too struggled with substance use disorders growing up in a predominantly non-Muslim society. I wanted to fit in, wanted to look like everybody else except for who I truly was. And part of that was this trauma, why addiction is happening across our communities. And the opioid epidemic was so important to me to help bring awareness, because back in 2019, 2020, a lot of East African young men and women were overdosing. Yeah. They were taking pills and dying in the car, in their bedrooms, with friends. I think we had in 2020, there was 10 young people. I
think even more.
One day though. They all took they were all together.
I remember.
They were all together.
We don't hear about that.
Yeah. So a lot of us were just keep burying youth after youth after youth, and not understanding what are opioids, what is going on here. Started out with the Percocets, popping a perk. And then understanding that it's laced with fentanyl. So fentanyl is actually the main thing. And that is the overdose.
And what is, for those who don't understand, because a lot of people think pills is pills. So what makes fentanyl more dangerous than a Percocet or any other prescribed pill?
Yeah, so fentanyl is a synthetic form. I mean, it was used to help people that were going through a lot of pain and surgery. And then these synthetic forms that have came into the community, those are the ones that honestly a lot of people are overdosing on, not understanding these are fake pills when you're really looking at, and then one little pill of fentanyl can kill a whole elephant.
Mm-hmm. So what?
Yeah.
A whole elephant?
Yes, a whole elephant. Yes, I mean a small dose. I don't know how many milligrams it is, but a small dose of fentanyl can kill an elephant. So we have to be careful when we are taking substances that we don't know about, that are not prescribed to us. Because we are just looking at how we can get through the withdrawals. And that is something else that brings me back to withdrawals happens. And when you're taking substances, I used to go through alcohol withdrawal. I would be drinking after going to the club and coming back home, staying up.
You can't picture her like that, right? When she was almost Farhia at the club.
Oh yeah, I've been there, y'all. I've been there. Don't let the hijab fool you, okay? I'm grateful to live two lifetimes in one lifetime.
Yeah.
But coming back to the withdrawals, I used to drink and it starts out with just having fun. You just want to have fun with your friends. Mm-hmm. You just want to go out, girls' night. You get dressed up, you go out to the club, and you're dancing, you're having a good time, you're having drinks, but not understanding that you have to moderate. Drink some water, drink a shot, drink whatever. The moderation was not in. We were just drinking to get drunk. Mm-hmm. That's all we knew.
And that's something we were talking about, in our community, us Somali people, once we just take a form of substance, we just abuse it. We don't know how to control or moderate. We just
No.
get drunk to get drunk. Like, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would be home, and then like it keeps going on to the next day, understanding, okay, you're going to have a crash moment, and then comes the withdrawals. You're going to get sick, you're puking, you're dehydrated, you're like having, my sister and I used to call these like screaming moments, like, why do we do this to ourselves? And wallahi, that was my form of addiction. Like, I love to drink. Drinking got me into a lot of problems.
What kind of alcohol?
We don't need to get into that. That's not important.
Well, yeah, it's not important, wallahi. But to understand, like, how, you know, and I see a lot of young women today that are going through the same thing too. But we also have to understand that, as you know, where I grew up and the households that I grew up, it was not acceptable. Like, we, you know, it was come with a lot of lying. So that came at a lot of cost to my iman, or my faith in myself, because I was like two people. I was actually like living a double life. Like, understanding, like, when I stepped out of my house, I was one Farhia, and then when I came back in, I was another Farhia, and I didn't know how to differentiate the two. Yeah. So it came at a high cost, you know, just in trouble with the law, in trouble with my family, in trouble with my relationships, everything. And then also understanding I didn't have faith with Allah as a Muslim woman. Like, I totally ignore that part. So also having that faith was something that I also lacked, for a better word, like just not understanding, like, how do I make sure that I can be who I am and be authentic. And I didn't know how to do that, y'all. Like, so I just whoosh, rock bottom. I hit rock bottom.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Now I see the purpose.
Yeah,
now I can relate to their
absolutely.
purpose.
And sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to actually like wake up, you know. And that's kind of like this. That's the depth that we have to get to. So how did you pick yourself back up?
Wallahi, you know, I hit like rock bottom a few times, knowing that like I can always like, you know, I always made it. Like, I always had a job, I always had a car, I had a place to live, but like the social part of like having a family and all of that stuff was like not there. And then also like I had to cover up so many lies about what I was doing, who I was with. In order for me to do that, what I did was, when I first went to jail, and you're right, external motive factors, like something is going to push you to do well. Because first, it's not like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So something happened where I was like, okay, I had to choose between my kids and my sobriety. And I chose my kids and my sobriety both, because I was like, okay, I can't hang out with these people. And this is the thing, y'all, like, friends, your friends could be like one of those people in your life when you're going through something horrible. They want to bring you back down with them. They want to actually bring you back down with them. So they're not even like real friends to start with. So I always just struggled with, okay, if I want to get better and I stop hanging out with these individuals that were so bad for my life, they always found a way to come back in and suck me back in. It's like, I don't want to go out today. It's Sunday. It's rest day. Like, I don't want to go out. Come on, girl, we're gonna go out. Come on. I'm like, come on, oh, so-and-so is in town. Come on. Oh, man, like, I'm still recovering from last night, y'all. Like, leave me alone. But what happened was, I did go into treatment, and I graduated from treatment, alhamdulillah.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And went back to school, and became an alcohol and drug counselor.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so that was like
amazing.
The one thing that I did. I said, okay, I want to understand, because my counselor, that when I went to treatment, she was like 30 years sober. I was like,
how many years sober are you?
30 years sober right now. Alhamdulillah, right now I'm 8 years.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Years.
Congratulations.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, so, you know, everything counts, y'all. Like, everything counts. Recovery is a continuous thing. Like, we're supposed to understand when people say, I had a relapse, but I picked myself back up, that time counts too.
Yeah.
You know? So, but just to go back to what I was saying, I think it's important to also understand that one size does not fit all. Like, what works for me might not work for you, or might not work for you. So we have to really understand recovery to be whatever, meeting individuals where they're at. And that's one thing that I've decided to do, is really look at, what's working for me might not work for somebody else. So let's just try to meet that person where they are so that we can get them to be where they want to be, inshallah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like why, because you made a statement that what works for you might not work for someone else. Do you think that's what a lot of people struggle with, because they try to push the same thing on every single person?
Yeah, I think a lot
I feel like
of
treatment is always, they always treatment this.
Right. So treatment is really a place where people get the tools that they need to learn more about themselves. Like you're really like dissecting yourself, understanding like who you are, understanding your purpose, understanding why you were diagnosed with the substance use problem in the first place. So for me, it was really looking at like, I have to unpack some trauma, some depression, some anxiety, understanding that whatever happened to me was not my fault, forgiving myself, and then also understanding my relationship with God and making sure that that relationship was intact. And then part of that was also forgiving myself too. And when you're able to really forgive yourself, you're able to start healing. You really started to heal. Like you ever, we work steps, which I will really get into, inshallah. But that treatment aspect, like homework, you're in groups, you have structured activities. Like people are in treatment and they're busy throughout the day. You're really busy. You're having some structure activities. Maybe you go into group, you're having your one-to-ones, group counseling, therapy, medication management, all of these things. And then I think a lot of people fall through the cracks because after they leave that structured life, they come back and there's not an aftercare component. There's not like a place where there's structured activities from what they were doing before. Now what? Okay, I came back home. I'm going to sit on my phone all day. I'm going to lock myself in my room all day. I'm going to probably go outside and smoke a cigarette. I'm going to, you know what I mean? So it's important to make sure that that person is staying active and busy and structured from when they leave that treatment center.
Yeah, and that's like where the recovery part comes in, and that's why it's so crucial, because let's say, they lack that, environment. Is that why a lot of people like relapse?
Yeah, that's why a lot of relapse happens.
So recovery starts after you leave the facility.
Yes.
And it's the most important part, because you're not in a controlled environment where they're treating you. Now it's like, okay, you're in the real world, so you have to find ways to make yourself productive, different than what you were doing before.
Yep, exactly.
So I have a question though. So do you think people should go to treatment when they want to go to treatment, or is it better when someone sends them to treatment?
That's a really good question. A lot of people have, they can refer themselves to treatment. Some people have no choice. It's either you go to treatment or you're going to jail. A lot of people are like, I'm going to go to treatment. Like when you look at a lot of these treatment courts and things like that, that's what happens. A lot of people are put into a corner and they're like, their parents are like, we're going to disown you, or you need to go to treatment or help get your life together. I think sometimes all of those are some external factors that go into play, but ultimately intrinsic motivation needs to happen in order for that person to be ready. That niyyah has to be there, that intentional recovery piece. Like, I want to be able to change my life. And then also, you have to change everything about yourself, like your surroundings, your environment, your friends, everything. You have to change your phone number. Everything about yourself has to change in order for that to work, because otherwise, you're gonna relapse.
What's the most important thing after you leave treatment? What's the most important support that someone needs after they leave treatment? Family, yes, family. A lot of people struggle with lack of family, and I think it's so important that family members are supportive to that individual, and they understand that this is a brain disease. Honestly, we're supposed to treat, I said earlier, somebody was like, it's not like diabetes. We treat diabetes. You know what I mean? Honestly, with insulin,
recovery treatment, like substance use disorders, we treat it with recovery. You know, what does recovery look like? Like for me today, recovery looks like to me having a healthy relationship with my children, my mom, going to the mosque, having a relationship with Allah, having a job, having a structure, you know, having healthy friends, you know, like everything about my life had to change in order for my recovery to work. And guess what, y'all? Like, there's so much fun activities that we could do without the use of drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's a lot of fun things that we can go out for a walk. You know, you go out to dinner with your friends, like, just studying, like, just fun things. Like, a lot of people associate having fun with, like, being lit, you know?
So since we kind of brought up the topic of family, like I want to talk about like in our community, in the Somali community or East African community, the role that you play in the part of with mothers and you being a mother. So I know like when mothers either can enable the behavior of their kids that are going through either this recovery process or going through the drug usage, or they can and they can enable it both ways, either by being in denial that their kid is using and needs to get help, or they completely cut them off. So I want to kind of know, like, how do you work with the mothers who are going through their kids that are going through this like whole process, and like what's important to note or highlight to help those mothers?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. I think
That's
a lot
good
of
question,
the moms are want their kids to be fixed right away, you know, so like it's like how do you, like, you know, I need you to, can you help fix my kid, you know? And it's like we need to understand and kind of go back a little bit to understand that family dynamic. So what we do is like we sit down with the whole family and we let that person know what it means, how much their pain, the pain is causing the family members. So sort of like an intervention, but also like a moment to realize like, oh shoot, like I am hurting my mom by using. And then also letting them know, like, don't ever give up. A lot of people just want to give up right away, but it's like, don't give up on your 21-year-old, 20-year-old. Like, that person is still in there. It's because they're consumed by the addiction right now, that they're not able to really think clearly. So we have to understand that we need to meet that person where they're at too. Let them know what's working. A lot of it is like community and like yelling, cussing, a lot of verbal abuse. Like that's not gonna help. That person is just going to keep running away. So I think we need a lot more education.
That's
a lot more awareness,
education.
Education has to be there.
That's true. That education. Yeah,
education. Just letting moms know, like, what are opioids. Like, looking at what, you know, identify. She goes, I know he's using something. You know, something is always smelling out of the room. Something is smelling out of the room. Like, I know, and of course, we lie. Like, I know what it's like to just say, nope, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I didn't use anything. And I think that's where a lot of people are at right now. They're just literally, like, they don't understand. They don't even understand, like, what treatment is. Like, how can you get effective treatment? You know, effective treatment too is like making sure, like, when a person is in treatment, I want you to sign a release of information as your mom, so that I can talk to your counselor. I want to come to the treatment center and visit you. But a lot of people don't even want their family members to know about that process.
Why do you think that is? Are they too embarrassed to?
Stigma. We have so much stigma and shame in our communities, and not only just in our Somali East African community, but I think it's across all communities. The stigma of like, I don't want anybody to know what I'm going through. Like, I want to hide my pain and my suffering. I don't want anybody to know. Can you imagine, Gilbert, like, how many moms lied about their youth dying and said that they died of a heart attack when they know that little boy and young man overdosed. You know, that is like literally what we're going through. And understanding like the moms need to come out and say that my son and my daughter are struggling, because we need to start mobilizing and organizing our community members so that we can hold other people accountable.
Yeah, amen.
Like that is what is missing, is we are part of you know, this silos, like we're silos across, and how do we make sure that we understand what this program is doing, what this program is doing, and then also holding our leaders that we voted for accountable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about this. Our last person we interviewed, like we were talking about holding our leaders accountable within our community. Yeah.
Yes, I think we need to do that. Like honestly, y'all, like we have like a lot of Somali politicians right now in the public arena.
Which is good.
Yeah. Amazing. Like I want to shout out to each and every one of y'all.
We made history. Yeah, we made history. But after that, what? And that is the thing. Like I think like we have an opportunity, right, to make sure that some of our agendas that we want to be moved forward can really happen if we come together collectively. Yeah.
But that's going to take a lot of work too. It's going to be a lot of trust building, a lot of organizing, a lot of making sure that we are meeting each other, and like, you know what I mean? So I think we have so much work to do.
Yeah, we do.
So much work to do.
So do you think, COVID, we try to blame COVID for everything. Do you think COVID actually brought light into this addiction stuff?
It definitely did. Yes, it absolutely did. There was, from 2019 to 2020, there was 27% increase in overdose deaths.
Yeah.
And the new data is even more in Minnesota. So understanding like there's a lot of great initiatives that are happening. Like we have the Opioid Response Advisory Council that the governor assigned. They're doing a lot of amazing work looking at funding streams and making sure that some of this money, with Purdue Pharma being sued, which was the pharmaceutical company that made opioids. They sued, Keith Ellison's office sued, and now Minnesota is having, Minnesota is one of the states that, they disperse the money to cities, counties, to really help communities that were disproportionately affected, which we are part of that community, African American or the BIPOC community, I want to say. So we want to make sure that that money is really, we're able to use that money for resources, education, awareness, and make sure that we're actually at the table when those decisions are being made. So I'm just really grateful to be part of that work too, and bring light to this issue.
Yeah, and I really want to thank you for that, because we need more people like you out there to be at those tables, like representing. Like, big shout out to you. So that's really important. So I want to kind of go a little bit into this book that you brought today. It's called Militant Islam: The Path of Peace, Islamic Treatment for Addiction. So why is this book important
to you?
Yeah, to
you. This book is so important to me. Shout out to Militant Islami World Services. So Militant Islami is important to me because everybody has a way of recovery, right? Like we are honestly like the midst of disease of addiction. And so there is Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm sure you all heard of AA, right? And then you've all heard of NA, which is Narcotics Anonymous. And so this is that version for Muslim people and anybody that wants to learn a new way of life. So Milati Islami is, we're pretty much, integrating the treatment requirements of both Al-Islam and the 12 approach to recovery into one program.
12 approaches to recovery?
12. Yep. So the 12 steps of recovery, page 14 of the book. So this is the recovery process. So looking at all of these 12 steps is how we recover, because we borrow this from AA and NA for our need to be spiritually pacific. And honestly, the concept of a higher power, right? When you look at the concept of a higher power, a lot of people have this concept of a higher power, but like Yusra, like we know that it's Allah for us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So how do we connect ourselves back to Allah? By having, by having taqwa and ihsan, just understanding that although we cannot see God, that He does see us in everything that we do. So it brings me back to really a very humble gratitude and understanding like we're humans, like we make mistakes. We're not our disease, and that this is what recovery looks like. And I never really thought that I would be talking about recovery so publicly to the world, but because I know that God has given me that confidence to do that. So by working these 12 steps of recovery.
So important about the first one, though. The first one is you have to actually accept that something is wrong.
And they teach that in AA and in NA for sure. That's always the first one.
Honestly, it is.
So the first stage of recovery is acceptance
and
not be hard on yourself.
Exactly. Acceptance is huge, and that comes with what? Willingness and honesty. Because if you have a problem, like nobody's gonna help you. Like you can fake it all day you want, but guess what? You're just running around in circles, baby girl. Like we need to understand that it's okay, and for you to say that I need help. That's why it was so important to me to understand like I needed help, and I needed to recover out loud. Like I needed to recover out loud so everybody knows that for a Muslim woman, Somali woman, East African woman, that we're not we're not special, we're not immune to this disease, we're like everybody else. Like,
so speaking of that, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask because I feel like treatment for some people because I was just thinking about the reason why I asked this is because of family member, but do you feel like when you have the choice to go to treatment or go to jail, you choose treatment? Do you think you get the same out of treatment?
Wallahi, that's a great question. So
because you're just doing treatment just to get out of jail.
So. I mean, people are doing it, but they're also getting points to avoid jail. Like, I mean, jail, I don't wish jail on anybody.
But do we?
So the fact that at least they're able to understand, but guess what? Because you chose to go to treatment instead of jail, and you really did it to avoid that. Like, you didn't do it intentionally with that niyyah to get better. Relapse is going to happen to you anyway, and you're going to come back and you're going to try this again. So honestly, I try to tell people like, do what you think will be best for you. I've seen, like, for me, when I did it because I was avoiding jail or family was making me do it, was when I had a relapse. Like, when I had the intentional piece is so important, because when you make that intention, like, you're able to see success. Have you ever intended to do well, not in like on a job or like on a task that you wanted to complete, and you succeeded because you made the intention, right?
You eat and talk, did.
See, they eat and talk. Eat and talk. See, eat and talk. Now we're definitely here. You see that? So this is the intention. So it is very impactful and purposeful. Like, when you're able to, because time is so important, and a lot of people don't understand how much time they're spending in treatment, and just to go back again. Like, I want to make sure that people are not going through in circles. And when you come out of treatment, you have success with us, and to go back to the mosque if that's what you want to do, to come back to school, to volunteer, to have that structure, play basketball. A lot of people play basketball today. A lot of people play soccer, whatever that might look like to you, without having to use again, So,
and one thing I learned through the people in my life that like were going through recovery is like, treatment and recovery is not going to make any change in your life unless you actually want it to. Like, if someone tells you to go into treatment, or you go because of jail and you come out, you only went because you were like forced to. It doesn't work unless you actually want it to work.
Exactly. So that goes back to what's going to happen to them because they want to go to treatment, or the judge made them want to do it. Exactly. What changes do you want to see in your life? because honestly, recovery is hard work. Recovery is actual work. Recovery is like you self-dissecting yourself, looking at your past. Like, honestly, it says here, like, let me read you these 12 steps. So when we recover through Millat Islami, we admit that we are neglectful of our higher selves and that our lives have become unmanageable. Heck yeah, my life was unmanageable. Honestly, like, I had no money. I didn't know if I was coming or going. I was literally destructive to myself and to other people. So we came to believe that Allah could and would restore us to sanity. So that is the second step, understanding that we're living in a very insane world. Well, we're addicted. It's just like an insanity is doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results.
Yeah.
Like, for real. 3 is we made a decision to submit our will to the will of Allah. Understanding that whatever has been decreed for me, I have to be okay with that. And I have to turn my will over to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Turn it over to God because I have no control. So it's also accepting the things I cannot change.
That's powerful.
That's key, yeah.
And then number 4 is we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. This part is looking at how greed, ego, pride, selfishness, all of these things really plays a role in our lives today. Understanding envy, looking at everything about my life, like up to this point, and understanding the relationships and everybody. Fear was one of my biggest ones, was looking at my fear. Like, oh my God, I was driven by fear. Every time, like, I didn't even want to look at myself. I didn't know what was going to happen. Fear played a huge role in my life. Number 5 is admitting to Allah and to ourselves the exact nature of our wrongs. So now, because we looked at step 4, and all these fear and ego and pride and lust and all of these things, right, played a role in my life. Now in step 5, I admit that to Allah. I don't even admit it to you or to you. I wake up in the middle of the night praying tahajjud, and I just pour my heart out to Allah, because He's down in the lower heaven, asking His servants, which one of you is up, so that I can deliver whatever that you ask. So it's like removing. So now we're asking Allah for right guidance and become willing and open for change, ready to have Allah remove our defects of character. Because guess what? Like, we're not perfect. We're not perfect. Like, everybody is not perfect. We're actually sent down here to be imperfect. So that now we're asking Allah to remove our defects of character. And then 7 is we humbly ask Allah to remove our shortcomings. 8 is so important to me because we're just asking people to make a list of people that we have harmed. Man, I don't know about y'all, but we harm a lot of people when we're out there. Like, we don't care who. We're just out to get people. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, subhanallah, may Allah forgive me. These people that we have harmed, and we become willing to make amends to them all. We just write the list, and then honestly, wallahi, like, when I was able to, like, pick up the phone and meet people for coffee and say, can you please forgive me? More people were just actually so happy the fact that I was alive and I was in recovery, that whatever I was asking them, they didn't even remember what it was, 9 was we made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them and others. We're talking about you got to be able to get asking people for forgiveness. You're making that direct amends now. And then 10 is we continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it, because we're continually doing it. We sought through salat and iqra to improve our understanding of taqwa and ihsan. So prayer is so important to us as Muslims, and it was important for me to learn how to pray again, to learn how to make wudu, to understand, like, my relationship with Allah, and that direct link was actually making salat. So that was really important to me. So that was really number 11. And number 12 is having increased our level of faith and taqwa as a result of applying these steps. We carry this to everywhere, to all humanity, just like I'm doing right now, letting all of you know what this program is about. So that is how we recover. We have to be willing, open, and honest with ourselves. So
wow, that was powerful. I love that. That's amazing. And I can see like why that's a great guide for people who are going through recovery. That's really self-explanatory steps.
Yes, wallahi. And we give this book out, you know, we give it out, we just let people know, like, you know, just take it one day at a time. We're not asking people to do all these steps. We can work these steps simultaneously, or just once in, you know, just understanding that this program is here for you too. And because it's always about the menu of options. Yeah. Like if, you know, looking at what's on the menu for recovery. And we look at like women's sobriety meetings, other meetings, but this is also a lot that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah, absolutely. So the question I was trying to ask earlier was like, so you are a woman, obviously, and I guess like what I'm trying to say is like in our community, we have, you talked about the shame culture, ab culture, what we call it.
Ab culture gotta go.
Ab culture definitely has to go. Ab means shame. And
what is ab culture?
Ab means shame, so it's the shame culture. Yeah. So like in our community, like if we talk about anything like this, it's like a shame. It's like, oh my God, one time I was on your TikTok and I don't know, I was like someone commented under one of your videos and I was like, why are you talking about this? This is so bad. And I like went in. I don't know if you saw it. I don't think you even knew me then. I don't think you knew like who I was or anything. But literally somebody said something like, oh my God, like, why are you talking about this? Like, you're a woman, Ab, you're Muslim, you're this. Like, you shouldn't be talking about like what you went through, like all that stuff. So like, as a woman, like, how do you like overcome, you know, the obstacles of ab culture in our community? Because I feel like men in our community have it easier. Like boys, oh my God, he's going through something. We have to help him. Or oh my God, miskeen. Or oh my God, like I can't believe he's doing this. But then if like a girl, a young teenager is going through the opioid crisis or whatever, alcohol or whatever it is, it's like, oh my God, like we can't tell anybody. Or like, oh my God, like this is embarrassing. Or like, you know, they shun her family, they shun her. So like, as a woman, like how did you cope with that personally, and then how do you help other young girls cope with that?
Thank you. Wallahi, I get the confidence from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like I made a decision, I made niyyah. Well, before all of that, I prayed istikhara. So istikhara is a prayer that you pray to ask God for guidance to, like, if I wanted to share my story. So a lot of people, I'm sure y'all heard of the istikhara prayer. A lot of people pray if they want to get married, or like if that's the right person. You know,
that's what we waste our prayers on, sadly.
You know, literally. So I honestly, I was like, Allah, you know, I want to be able to share my story. And I actually saw Biftu Jillo do it. Ooh, shout out to Biftu. She shared her recovery story. So I was like, I want to do it too. And I started to really come out in 2020 to really like share my story. But the ab thing has not like, I didn't get away with it because a lot of the hoyos are like, why are you telling your story? Family guy, even including my own mom. Now she has to be on board because she's like, you're not going to stop, so I'm just going to support you anyway. But how I really deal with it is, that is the reality that we have to face. A lot of moms tried to tell me that what I'm doing is not working, or like, you know, and these are the older generation. Like the young moms are like, you know, they're very supportive and they're helpful and they want to be able to be part of the NIA team and volunteer, which they do, most of them. But the older ones with the tusbah are the ones that are like the beads, you know, are like, you know, don't share your story, you're gonna get ill. Ill is evil eye. You're gonna, you know, something, you know, where's your mom, you know, things like that. So I try to really pass all, I mean, I don't even listen to that, and I just try to really look at like what recovery has done for me through this path of peace, so that I can help other women. And when I do work with other young women, I let them know that recovery is so much possible for them too, and that they don't have to stay in that negative thinking, that's just so much of their addiction, but that they can come out brighter. And most of them are, we meet every Wednesday. I'm looking forward to them this Wednesday. We're going through the book. They're sharing their recovery story. They're opening up with me. Because I am different, y'all. Like, I'm different.
Yeah, you are, in a very great way, mashallah.
Thank you. Like, I am, and I honestly, it's because, like, I embrace my hijab today.
Yeah.
A lot of women, like, when you look at me, a lot of people don't even think that I've been through addiction.
I couldn't have.
Yeah.
So
you never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. So a lot of people are like, wait, you? I'm like, yeah, I've been through it. And then, like, I start to tell them about some of the, it's just, we speak that language with each other, we get it.
You understand.
So they understand. So they're like, oh, okay. So they start to really trust me. And really that's all about is connecting with people, really giving them hope. Hope doesn't cost a thing, and we need to understand that hope can save lives, wallahi.
Yeah, and another thing to add to that is not judging. That's one thing I love about you is you don't leave room to judge. So, like, not judging is really important, like, when you're out here, like, educating people about this. So that's really empowering.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, because I know what it's like to be broken and to absolutely have nothing. I can't judge. I'm not in a place to judge because I've done it all. Like, I've been there. I know it. I've done it. I don't have a place to judge. Like, I know that God has done good to me, so I just want to do good to other people.
Yeah. And I love how everything, like, that you say, like, always comes back to, like, God and, like, Allah and, like, your trust in Him, like, I think that's very beautiful. I know not everybody's, like, spiritual or, like, religious that way, but the fact that you're able to, like, open your heart to Allah and, like, accept that and, like, be confident and, like, wear your hijab and, like, share your story, like, no matter where you are, like, that's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mashallah. Yeah, I honestly know what it's like to, like, not have God in my life, and I know that a lot of people are not religious. A lot of people don't want to talk about God, but at the end of the day, like, God is the source of all things, and honestly, like, that is what brings me back to, like, opening my heart. Like, my heart was chained up, locked up, darkness upon darkness. So the minute that I did open I decided to open my heart to God, was like literally getting the light through God to shine through me in my heart. So it's part of the purification, right? That we all seek in some way, because guess what? We don't really see with our eyes, we see with the condition that our heart is really in. So if your heart is about love and acceptance and soft and like you're smiling all the time to people, like it's important, because that's really how you see the world, and that's how I show up to the world today, and I show up for myself most importantly, and then I show up for everybody else, because that's important too, because I can't do good to anybody if I'm not showing up for myself.
Yes, I love that.
So thank you. I think that's important, and it's okay to talk about God, y'all. Like, for real. Like, what does God mean to us? Like, it's important to talk about God. Like, my son, my kids actually, my son and daughter, are like, Hoyo, like, you're a miracle, because they're like my best friends today. They've seen everything. They've seen everything. They've been through everything with me, and I know that change is possible. Wallahi, if I did it, I know everybody else is possible. Like, they can do it too.
That's absolutely amazing.
So the question I was gonna ask is, can you tell who wants to be in treatment and who doesn't want to be? Are you able to tell when you see that person?
Yeah, I can. I can. Not just because I'm looking at the person, but having a conversation with them. Like, I can tell if that person is ready or if that person is not ready.
So how do you help that person that is not ready?
That is not ready?
Yeah.
I kept just telling them to show up. Just to show up to our meetings. Okay. We kept showing up to our meetings, letting them know, how I can help them. Sometimes it's like, I'm not ready to change today. I'll change tomorrow. I'm like, okay, inshallah, come back to the meeting tomorrow. But like our recovery meetings are really designed for people that are like action oriented. Okay. But we don't even like leave people. Like people want to come in as they're newcomers. Like we love people to come in. But when we talk about like treatment, I say that person has to fall hard a few times in order for them to really understand. Like they haven't felt the pain yet. You know, they're not ready yet.
But can we keep saying that though? Like waiting for them to fall. Waiting for them to fall hard.
Well, they're gonna know that.
That's the hard reality.
That's like they're gonna know that. They are gonna know that. Like how many young African and African American and Somali young men do we see that are literally just hanging out with no place to go? You know, like understanding homelessness is also like I can't worry about something like honestly, it's hard for somebody to worry about recovering while they don't have a place to live, a roof over their head. Mm-hmm. So looking at the social determinants of health and how we're able to support each of those levels by, you know, housing is a huge need. And you're right, we can't just keep saying the person is gonna, you know, that person's gonna, we're gonna wait for that. They have to be ready. But even if they're not ready, harm reduction is a way of recovery too. Harm reduction is also another model of recovery. So we just need to introduce that person to the variety of recovery. Like harm reduction is also part of that.
Because the reason why I ask that is because I can relate to it, because at some point in my life I've distanced myself from somebody just because I kept on telling myself like I can't, like you just have to fall. And you will not learn if you don't fall. But I just feel like the person
keeps falling.
Yeah, it keeps falling.
And they're not getting anything from it.
It keeps falling, but they're not.
So I would encourage, like, for real, that is so important. A lot of family members are feeling like that. Like, I know a lot of family members are like, I'm loving my person from a distance. I can't deal with that person anymore. Understanding how to deal with that person is important for you to understand. Like, okay, the next time they call me and they ask me for money, or they ask me to come, you know, be in your house, and they want to hang out with you in your house, and you're like, well, I know you need to go to treatment. Don't you need to go to treatment? Like, understanding how do you deal with that person. Like, so the family education component is so important too, because guess what? This is also a family disease. Earlier I said it's a disease. Addiction is a disease, but it's also a family disease too, because you're feeling it. Family members are feeling it. The Hoyos, the dads, everybody's feeling it. So the family has to recover together.
I love that.
But that's true. But you have to choose. You have to want to recover. That's the hardest thing.
The person who's going through addiction has to want to recover.
Yeah, they do have to want to recover. But also, you also need support. You also need support. There's also Al-Anon meetings that you can go to. People that
you have to understand.
What the family members are going through.
Where's your meeting at?
Sure, I'll definitely.
Yeah, I don't think you're right. I don't think we ever or society ever talks about like what the family goes through. You know, because they
struggle.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. And we don't talk about that because we are also like we feel the disease. Like we're going through it. Like it hurts us a lot. Like a lot that we can't, you know, do anything for that person that we love, you know, and then it's like we don't want to give up, but it's like we have to at some point.
So do I ask for forgiveness then? And then, because I feel like I have backed up too much that to the point that it's like I don't want to hear the name.
So you are also going to be working your own program as a family, you know, as a family member of an alcoholic or an addict. You're also going to be working. So family members are encouraged to also understand that there's family support for them as well, and that they're going to be working because enabling. A lot of family members, all they do is enable behaviors. Sure. They keep enabling. The other thing is codependency. There's so much codependent on, you know, a sibling, the mom or the dad, that they don't want to really take responsibility for themselves. If that person is provided a house, meals, a car, all the bills are paid, their phone paid, their insurance paid. I'm living it up. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm living it up. Like, I'm not putting any work into myself. So we have to understand, how do you hold that person accountable? There's a lot of accountability, a lot of understanding. But yeah, I love to introduce to both of y'all to some family meetings.
I don't mind coming.
And I don't mind coming. Yes. Honestly, we do have a there is a Pam Lanhart does a lot of the family focus. A lot of the family groups. I like
that you said that.
Yeah.
I feel like us family do need that treatment too, or whatever it is. That outside support.
No, families go through a lot as well. It takes a lot of blood, sweat, tears, sleepless nights. Like, imagine like your loved one, you don't know if they're dead or alive because you haven't heard of them. Exactly. You know, in a couple of days, like that takes a toll on you. So
it definitely does. Wallahi, I honestly, like, now what I know now, like, you know, we do put a lot through our family members. We do. We really do. And that is some of the awareness, is like understanding that we don't, like, my mom doesn't have to suffer anymore. My kids doesn't have to suffer anymore. Mm-hmm. That I'm actually taking responsibility for my own recovery. Mm-hmm. And it is sad. Like, it's going to be a lot of screaming moments, crying moments, but knowing that that I've stayed sober through it all. Like, I tell people, like, I got big girl problems today. Like, I got big girl problems. Mm-hmm. You know, so addiction is deadly. Yeah. It is deadly.
It is true, and I think it's deadly for the support system too, because I relate a lot to this conversation today, because I feel like, me personally, I haven't been addicted to anything, but I have. People that I know. Mm-hmm. And I feel like something that I learned through the process of that is just the fact that we make excuses for those individuals. Yeah. And I had to stop making excuses. I had to stop, because it wasn't helping me personally, and it wasn't helping them either. So I can relate to that a lot.
There are. I mean, it's the same 12 steps that they're different, but it is also like an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about your family member, and understanding like what you can do and what you cannot do to support that behavior. Like, you don't want to contribute to the behavior, right? So what do you need to do to make sure that you're okay at the end of the day without having to feel bad because you're not in their life? Like, you want to be able to save them. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm trying.
Yeah.
Some people can be saved, but
yeah. So you're right. Some people can be saved, but and that's where we do is we turn over. Yeah. I can share the 12 steps that you guys have to go. You guys have to work.
There's a 12 step for us.
Mm-hmm. It is.
That's why I like that you brought up that point too. That we pay attention to the addicts, but we don't pay attention to the support.
Yeah, to the support, because they equally go through a lot for sure. I've seen.
So is there a book?
It's not a book like for y'all, but so it is called it's Al-Anon. So yep, it is. So I will so Al-Anon is called, and hopefully we don't get in trouble by using their name on here, but it is really helping family members understand their loved one.
Speaking of that, does therapy come into a play with all this?
Absolutely. Therapy is so important. Therapy, medication, just because, I think they're all important. Following your doctor's recommendations, finding a good doctor that you trust, that your family trusts, somebody that can work with you, understand what it is that you're going through. When you're able to do your wellness recovery plan or your treatment plan, all of those things are important, for you to follow. Of course, family therapy is important. Family therapy, wallahi, like that's something, or even like the individual therapy. Who do you trust to get stuff out to? Like you need an outlet. Who's your outlet?
Yeah.
Who do you trust? Who's your confidant? Like a lot of people don't, in our community, we know how we feel about therapists and like understanding the stigma and shame also with like, oh, I don't want to go to a therapist, right? But yeah, it does. It definitely does come to play. All of those things are important. I'm trying to find the 12 steps of recovery for the family members.
While you're doing that, so do you guys have a facility that you host the meeting at, or?
Yes, we do at the Brian Coyle
in Cedar. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So.
And people can find this through the website.
Yes. So I guess it is the same steps that you make. The only thing different is understanding what you have control over.
Yeah, I feel like it's all the same because you have to accept the fact
that
you do. You're enabling the person.
Yeah, you do. And I'm sorry, I'm not really big on the Al-Anon one, but I will definitely give you some resources.
That'd be nice.
And then we'll meet on every Tuesday from 6 to 7:30 at the Brian Coyle Center. We have our in-person Milati Islami meetings, and then there's a lot of meetings online. If you go to the Milati Islami website and you look at meetings, and there's a lot of Zoom meetings online too.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah,
that's amazing. No, thank you so much for you're full of resources.
Now I'm at peace.
Yeah,
you're at peace. You're at peace.
I feel like
mashallah.
I'm at peace because I've learned. Yeah, I think I'm at peace.
That's good.
Awesome.
So probably
grateful to be here, and I'm glad I could add some value to your lives about recovery.
The most important question that we usually ask is, what advice would you give to a young queen, a young king out there that is going through problems?
Thank you for that. And suggestion advice would be, if you're watching this and you are struggling, know that there is absolutely light on the other side of the tunnel. Like, don't give up. Keep asking for help. Keep reaching out. Trust the process. Go to the doctor if you're feeling like you're gonna die. Withdrawals are real. And find us. Come to the Brian Coyle Center. Ask for Farhia Budul. We're there helping people navigate the recovery world. Thank you.
That was good.
Amazing.
That was good.
Yeah, thank you.
I was touched.
Lovely advice.
Very
awesome.
Thank you so much, Farhia.
Can I finish these now?
Please eat and talk. I know we only talk on here, like we barely eat, but we eat food.
I always say I come for the food.
Yeah, for real. Please eat. So Nia Recovery, we're gonna post like the link on Instagram and on our YouTube channel for your page and your Instagram. Also, I know that like you're working.
Recording?
We are still recording. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Also, you're working on a documentary.
Okay.
So we should look out. We should look out for that.
First?
Yeah, she is working on a documentary and a couple projects. So like, I think you'll update us through your Instagram and your website and Facebook and stuff like that. So
yeah, thank you. Did you like the documentary?
I did. So I did. So she, I hosted. She had an event that I got to host that she asked me to host. Thank you so much. And it was a documentary. Focus like around like nationwide what other people what roles other people play, from police officer, community police officer, to Miss Sunshine. She was amazing, who was just like a regular civilian like us, but she goes out into the encampments and streets and like supports and helps people with giving them essential tools and kind of like some of the things that we've done in the past, like giving out just like any like clean needles and all those things. So that documentary was amazing. It's tipping of the scale. Tipping of the pain scale. That's what it's called.
Tipping the pain scale.
So that was really amazing. It was a wonderful turnout. Mashallah, it was super amazing. They played it at the Mixed Blood Theater. We loved it. My son got to come with me. He loved it. So thank you. So we'll be out on the lookout for your documentary that's going to share more about like your story and the initiative that's happening here in Minnesota. But thank you so much. We're going to let you eat, and then we're going to have you sign the Hall of Fame
all right.
sweater. And then, we are out. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.